My ex-wife is still barren.
She has no womb.
Ready for our big entrance?
Absolutely. Let's make it memorable.
Wow, this is so cool. I feel like a princess.
Is that my wife? I thought she's barren.
She's still barren. Husband mocks ex-wife, unaware she's with twins for the president. Esteemed viewers, welcome to Luxurious True Life Stories. Please like and subscribe for more captivating luxury true stories. Let's get into the story. Susan Nathan lived among forgotten things. The City Museum archive rested beneath street level, a place without windows where time moved slowly. Her mornings began with dust masks, catalogue numbers, and old paper cents. She preferred records to people. Documents never lied or abandoned you. Her small apartment above a bakery held only essentials, books, a kettle, and a single plant she stubbornly kept alive. She dreamed quietly of being remembered by at least one person in the world. Not famous, not admired, simply valued. Most co-workers forgot she existed by lunch. She never complained. Every afternoon she repaired damaged letters with thin brushes and steady hands. She loved restoring handwriting because it revealed emotions long buried. A shaky signature meant fear. Bold ink meant pride. She believed lives could be understood if studied carefully. Relationships, she thought, were the same, fragile pages needing patience. That belief made her gentle, almost too forgiving. When visitors asked questions, she answered with calm clarity and a small polite smile that never lasted long. One rainy evening the museum director informed staff that the property ownership was under legal dispute. A development company wanted the land. Lawyers would inspect the archives in the morning. Susan stayed late organizing files, unwilling to let strangers mishandle history. Outside, thunder rolled across the city. She worked quietly, unaware that the next day someone would enter her life and slowly rewrite every future she imagined. Solomon Vincent never entered a room without measuring its value. The young corporate attorney carried ambition like a second spine. His father had built a respected family name, and Solomon intended to expand it into influence. Status mattered. Perception mattered more. He dressed sharply, spoke precisely, and calculated outcomes before conversations began. To him, life was strategy. His mother believed legacy required perfection, perfect career, perfect reputation, perfect wife. She constantly reminded him that successful men married women who strengthened their image. Solomon agreed in principle, though romance felt secondary to achievement. Relationships were partnerships, not emotional risks. Love could exist, but only if it didn't weaken progress. When assigned to inspect the museum property dispute, he expected routine paperwork. Old buildings rarely resisted acquisition for long. Yet he prepared thoroughly. Winning cases built reputation. The next morning he arrived early, organized, confident, unaware a quiet archivist would challenge his certainty in ways logic could not predict. Susan first saw Solomon through shelves of documents. He spoke to administrators with firm politeness, scanning the environment like a surveyor. Unlike other visitors, he didn't rush. He noticed details, structural beams, catalogue markers, preservation labels. When introduced, he expected simple cooperation. Instead he met steady eyes. She refused immediate file transfer without proper authorization. Her voice remained calm but unyielding. Solomon, unused to resistance from someone so unassuming, paused longer than intended. The discussion turned into a careful debate about preservation law versus commercial rights. Neither raised their voice. Neither conceded quickly. By the time paperwork concluded, both recognized something unusual: respect without agreement. As he prepared to leave, rain began again outside the entrance. They stood awkwardly beneath the same awning waiting for it to ease. Conversation shifted from law to history, then to ordinary life. For the first time in months, Solomon spoke without calculating advantage. For the first time in years, Susan felt someone truly listening. The rain lasted longer than expected, stretching the conversation into evening. They discovered shared habits, late reading hours and a dislike for crowded gatherings. Solomon admitted he preferred order because unpredictability wasted time. Susan said unpredictability made life human. He almost argued, then didn't. Instead he asked where she usually had dinner. She mentioned a quiet cafe 2 blocks away. He followed, claiming convenience. The small place smelled of warm bread and herbs, nothing like the polished restaurants he frequented. Yet he stayed. They met again days later under practical excuses. Solomon reviewed documents. Susan clarified archive codes. Soon the legal matter ended, but meetings didn't. They walked through bookstores and discussed biographies. He enjoyed her clear thinking. She admired his determination. He began scheduling time without admitting it mattered. She noticed but pretended not to. Both sensed a line approaching, neither planned. One evening he asked directly if she believed different worlds could work together. She answered yes, if both chose respect over pride. He considered her answer seriously, more seriously than any legal argument. The decision to continue seeing her felt unusual, but not inefficient. For once, he allowed emotion to exist beside logic. Their relationship grew quietly. No grand gestures, just consistent presence. Solomon started leaving his office earlier. Susan adjusted routines to meet him. They learned each other's habits, his need for structure, her need for patience. He introduced her to better restaurants. She introduced him to calm spaces. Balance formed slowly. Meeting his family changed the tone. His mother evaluated Susan politely yet critically, noting her modest career and simple background. Dinner conversation felt like an interview. Susan remained composed but understood the message. Afterward Solomon reassured her that approval would come with time. She believed him because she wanted to. Months later he proposed during an ordinary walk, not dramatically but with certainty. He said his stability mattered more than spectacle. She accepted because sincerity mattered more than perfection. The wedding remained elegant yet restrained. 2 different lives joined, hopeful, unaware the greatest test would not come from wealth or status, but from silence waiting in their future. The first year passed peacefully. They built routines, shared breakfasts, late conversations, quiet weekends. Susan organized their home with warmth while Solomon advanced rapidly at work. Their personalities complemented each other. Disagreements ended quickly. Both expected the next natural step to arrive soon. Months turned into years without pregnancy. They didn't worry initially. Then relatives began asking careful questions. Solomon avoided the topic publicly. Susan answered gently. Medical appointments began appearing in their calendar beside meetings and deadlines. Hope became scheduled. After each visit they returned home quieter than before. Solomon buried himself deeper in work. Susan filled time with research and hobbies, pretending patience erased fear. They still loved each other, but a small invisible distance started forming, not anger, not blame, just uncertainty. Neither knew how to speak aloud. The specialist's office carried clinical certainty. Tests were repeated, results reviewed twice. The doctor explained complications without assigning fault. Possibility remained low but not impossible. Susan focused on the word possible. Solomon focused on probability. Their interpretations differed silently. Social gatherings changed afterward. Solomon shortened visits when conversations turned to family life. His colleagues spoke casually about children. He redirected topics. At home he became thoughtful, then distant. He never accused her, yet disappointment settled in his posture. Susan noticed but refused confrontation, fearing truth might break what remained steady. Nights grew quieter. He worked late more often. She stayed awake reading beside an empty space on the couch. Neither fought, neither comforted. Their marriage still existed, but its warmth faded into polite coexistence. The absence of conflict felt heavier than anger. Annabel Tyler entered Solomon's firm as a client first, then as a constant presence. She represented a luxury investment group negotiating several contracts. Confident, articulate, and socially connected, she moved easily in environments Solomon understood. Meetings with her required long hours, but unlike other clients she enjoyed discussion beyond business. She spoke about travel, influence, and opportunity with natural familiarity. Solomon appreciated her efficiency. Conversations with Annabel never hesitated or circled emotions. They aimed forward. She praised his discipline and ambition openly, something he rarely heard at home anymore. Their lunches extended slightly longer each week. He told himself networking mattered, yet he began sharing personal frustrations without realizing when professionalism ended. Susan noticed changes gradually, later evenings, shorter answers, and a new careful tone when he mentioned work. She trusted him, but uncertainty pressed quietly. When she finally met Annabel at a firm gathering, Annabel smiled warmly yet studied her closely, as if measuring distance between them. The evening ended politely, though Susan walked home feeling something unnamed had begun shifting. Solomon started comparing situations without intending cruelty. He mentioned how some people understood pressure better than others. He praised decisiveness and independence during dinner conversations. Susan recognized the implication, though he never said a name. She responded calmly, choosing patience over confrontation. Silence became her defense. Arguments never exploded. They thinned the air instead. He spent more nights reviewing documents at his office. She filled evenings volunteering at the museum restoration project. Their schedules no longer overlapped naturally. When together, they discussed logistics rather than feelings, groceries, appointments, bills. Marriage turned administrative. One night she asked directly if he was unhappy. He hesitated too long before answering. He said circumstances were difficult and expectations complicated. He never accused her, yet the absence of reassurance hurt more. Susan realized love alone could not carry both of them if only one still held it tightly. The separation conversation occurred on an ordinary morning. No raised voices, no dramatic moment. Solomon explained the future required clarity and compatibility. He spoke carefully, as if negotiating terms rather than ending a life they built. Susan listened quietly, already understanding before he finished. Legal papers arrived quickly. He arranged fairness in property division and ensured comfort for her transition. Practical kindness replaced emotional commitment. She signed without resistance, not from agreement but exhaustion. Remaining would mean slowly disappearing in her own home. Weeks later she heard he married Annabel in a private ceremony. The news reached her through mutual acquaintances, not him. Susan packed her belongings into a few boxes and left the city. She carried no bitterness, only a fragile decision, to rebuild somewhere her past would not define her worth. The new city felt anonymous, exactly what she needed. She accepted a temporary administrative role at a charitable foundation office downtown. The building remained active yet calm, focused on public service programs. Work required organization and problem-solving, familiar comforts for her mind. Co-workers treated her politely but without curiosity. She appreciated that. Each day she processed applications, coordinated schedules, and corrected errors others overlooked. Her competence slowly became trusted, though she never sought attention. For the first time since divorce, she felt useful without expectation attached. One late afternoon a man arrived unannounced asking for records related to a community project delay. He dressed simply, spoke calmly, and listened fully before responding. They solved the issue together within minutes. He thanked her sincerely and left without introduction. Susan assumed he was another administrator, unaware the foundation belonged to someone far beyond ordinary staff. The man returned several times that week, always without formal notice. He asked thoughtful questions and valued her clear answers. Unlike others, he focused entirely on conversations, not his phone or schedule. Susan found their exchanges surprisingly easy. They discussed project logistics, then ethics behind them. During a sudden funding complication, multiple departments panicked. He remained composed and asked Susan's opinion on restructuring deadlines. She suggested a solution balancing efficiency and fairness. He followed it immediately, calming the situation. Later he admitted most people avoided honest responses around him. She replied honesty saved time. Only after he left did a senior staff member react nervously to his visit. Whispers spread quietly, the foundation honor sometimes appeared informally. Susan ignored speculation, believing rumors exaggerated. She preferred assuming normalcy, not realizing she had been speaking casually with President Michael Charles. A media misunderstanding erupted about the foundation's project allocation. Reporters waited outside requesting statements. Offices grew tense. The same man arrived again, asking Susan to help organize accurate documentation quickly. Together they compiled reports late into evening. Working side by side for hours created natural conversation. He asked about her previous career. She answered honestly but briefly. She asked why he personally handled issues instead of delegating. He said responsibility required visibility. She respected that answer without knowing its full weight. When the correction released successfully, the crisis dissolved. He thanked her again, this time with unusual sincerity. She noticed exhaustion in his eyes beneath composure. As they parted, he said he hoped to continue their discussions outside work sometime. She agreed politely, still unaware agreeing meant entering a life far larger than she imagined. They met at a quiet cafe near the river. Conversation flowed without formal roles guiding it. They debated public responsibility, personal freedom, and purpose. Susan spoke carefully yet openly. He listened more than he spoke. Hours passed unnoticed. Subsequent meetings became routine walks through parks and galleries. He never mentioned his profession directly, and she never pressed. Their connection felt grounded in ideas rather than identity. She enjoyed being known without labels attached. He enjoyed speaking without caution. Gradually she sensed he carried constant pressure, though he rarely described it. She offered perspective rather than advice, and he valued it deeply. Friendship formed, steady, respectful, uncomplicated. Neither realized it was quietly becoming something stronger, already shaping both their futures. One morning the office atmosphere shifted sharply. Security personnel appeared throughout the building, communication devices active, entrances monitored. Staff behaved unusually formal. Susan assumed an inspection was scheduled until she saw him arrive surrounded by discreet protection. The realization came slowly, then all at once. The man she had spoken with freely was President Michael Charles. Shock made her step back instinctively. Every past conversation replayed differently in her mind. She worried she had been improper without knowing. When he approached, she addressed him formally for the first time. He noticed immediately. The ease between them fractured within seconds. After work he asked to speak privately outside. She refused gently, saying boundaries now mattered. Their worlds were unequal and complicated. He listened but did not argue. Before leaving he said he valued her honesty more than comfort. She returned home unsettled, uncertain whether distance protected her or cost something meaningful. Days passed without contact until a package arrived, documents for a community literacy project requiring administrative coordination. His message remained simple: professional collaboration only. Relieved by clarity, she accepted. Working together again restored conversation cautiously. Project visits required travel to various neighborhoods. Away from formal offices, their interactions regained natural rhythm. He asked about her interests beyond work. She shared her love for preserving stories and helping others be heard. He spoke about responsibility feeling heavier than authority appeared. Gradually she stopped addressing him with titles during private moments. He stopped hiding small personal details. Respect replaced intimidation. By project completion, distance no longer felt necessary. She recognized the man before the position again, and trusted him willingly. A political scandal erupted publicly, targeting decisions he never personally made. Media pressure intensified, schedules tightened, and his composure thinned. After a late meeting he requested fresh air outside the official residence. She accompanied him as a supportive colleague, nothing more intended. He spoke openly for the first time about isolation leadership created. She admitted her past marriage taught her how silence damages connection. The conversation moved from professional to deeply personal without plan. Vulnerability raised remaining barriers. That night emotion overcame caution. They chose closeness not from impulse but understanding. Both knew consequences existed, yet neither stepped away. The decision marked a turning point, not convenience, not escape, but genuine attachment forming where neither expected it. Months later Susan attended a large charity gala connected to the foundation's expansion. She kept a low profile among guests until a familiar voice stopped her. Solomon Vincent stood beside Annabelle Tyler, confident and elegantly dressed. Recognition froze the moment. Polite greetings quickly turned sharp. Annabelle asked about Susan's life with veiled curiosity. Solomon remarked she still seemed alone and likely still unable to start a family. The comment drew quiet attention nearby. Susan remained composed, offering only a calm smile. She felt protective instinctively, resting a hand over her abdomen beneath her dress, a gesture unnoticed by them. She had recently confirmed pregnancy with twins. She did not explain or defend herself. She simply wished them well and walked away, leaving them convinced nothing in her life had changed. Public appearances with the foundation increased, and reporters began noticing her frequent proximity to the president during project inspections. Speculation remained subtle at first. Solomon encountered a news photograph showing them together in discussion. Unease replaced certainty. Dates in articles conflicted with assumptions he held. He calculated timelines privately and realized his conclusions about her life were wrong. Annabelle dismissed his concern, but doubt settled heavily. For the first time he questioned whether he had misunderstood her entirely. Meanwhile, security around Susan quietly increased as her pregnancy advanced. She maintained normal routines while attention slowly grew unavoidable. Rumors circulated, yet confirmation remained absent, creating tension waiting for a single undeniable moment. During a national announcement about family welfare programs, the president publicly acknowledged Susan beside him. He spoke clearly, confirming their relationship and the expected birth of twins. The revelation spread instantly across media platforms and social circles. Solomon watched the broadcast in silence. The weight of past words returned sharply. He realized he had measured worth through legacy, yet failed to recognize loyalty when he had it. Annabelle said nothing. The truth required no argument. Susan faced attention with calm dignity. She neither celebrated nor sought revenge. Her life moved forward defined by respect, motherhood, and partnership chosen freely. The future she once feared empty now opened fully, not as validation, but as a new beginning she built through endurance and quiet strength. As this story comes to an end, remember that behind every luxury lies a truth few ever see. If this story moved you, support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until the next unforgettable true story, stay inspired and stay curious.